What's going on, Fragrance family? It's your man Gator, better known as the Novice Nose out here in these fragrance streets. Guys, I am excited, man, about the fragrance that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. But before I even get into all of that, shout out to the Novice Nation, man. Shout out to each and every one of you, man, for holding it down. Still coming and viewing my videos, liking my videos all throughout this time. It's been a crazy month or so, man. So I appreciate every single view, every single like, every single comment, man. And I definitely hope that whatever you're doing, and whenever you're doing it, when you're watching this video, I hope you're having a great day, man. Let me get into this. This is one of my favorite, spoiler alert, this is one of my favorite fragrance pickups. And man, it is interesting that I've said that a few times on these videos over the last year, man, over about a few fragrances. And I think that just speaks to the fact that a lot of these clone houses, a lot of the major houses, these niche houses, they're actually putting out some great work in 2024, man. This has been a great last couple of years in fragrance. And I hope that 2025 is going to be the same way. And it looks like it's shaping up to be. Starting out with something like this. This is actually from the house of Armaf. This is Armaf King, and let me see if I can get it straight here. There we go. Armaf King. I love the bottle design here, the chess piece thing, almost like Mind Games, but not quite. Not quite to that extent, man. But yeah, I actually love this fragrance. Spoiler alert, I did an unboxing on it a couple of weeks ago, and by the time you're seeing this, you'll probably see this video come out like right after the unboxing video. But know that it's been almost a month now since I've actually done the unboxing for the fragrance, so I've had a good bit of time to kind of, wear the fragrance out in the wild and see how it performs. And I must say that I am impressed by the way that this performs. Now, just as a refresher, this is a clone or inspired by of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Scandal Absolute, and it is a very, very good interpretation of that fragrance. As a matter of fact, they are very, very similar. They're not quite one-to-one, but there are some things about this fragrance, this inspired by fragrance, that I actually like better than the original. Now let me go over the note breakdown on this. Now the top notes of it are Maribel and fruity notes. Maribel's kind of like a plum, like a yellow plum type of vibe here. So if you're thinking about that, what it smells like, think like a yellow plum basically. Your middle notes are chestnut, spices, and gourmand accord. Now gourmand accord could be anything in this situation. And then base notes are sandalwood, amber, powdery notes, and balsamic notes. Now, if you've watched the channel for any amount of time, you know that sandalwood note is always gonna get me excited, man. Now, I decided to use my decant of Scandal Absolute just so I could kind of compare and contrast it with with the Armaf King, to see what those differences are between the two fragrances. And in all honesty, there's not a whole lot. They're not one-to-one though. And there are some things that I like more about Armaf King than I do about the actual Scandal Absolute. Now, Scandal Absolute, in my opinion, is an awesome fragrance, man. It's got this richness to it. It's got a depth to it. It does remind me a lot of a much fruitier kind of vibe of Gentleman Reserve Privé. It does have that kind, with booze in it, but it does give that kind of vibe to it. This one actually kind of goes in that direction as well, but again, there are subtle differences. One of the things that I noticed here when I put the two side by side, and I would wear it out, one on this arm, one on this arm, and I actually have them doing it right now, as a matter of fact. One of the first things I noticed is that the original is a bit richer than the Armaf King is. And when I say richer, I mean it feels like it's blended better. I don't think that the chemical quality is a lot better at all, but I do feel like that fragrance is blended a lot better than this one is. Now, when I say that, that's actually not the best thing, as I'm about to get into this, into the fragrance. So the chestnut is the biggest thing that I pick up as a difference in the two fragrances. The chestnut in the original seems to be a lot richer and have a little bit more depth to it. And all in all, the fruits, that marabou and the chestnut and the sandalwood are blended so well in that fragrance that it kind of comes across as you're getting one unified scent. You know, you're not picking out individual notes. King, however, does allow you, it seems a little bit thinner. It doesn't seem as deep as the other one does, as the original does. But King, for some reason, that works really well with it, because you get to pick out the fruitiness of that marabou that it has in there. You get to kind of pick out those gourmand nuances that it has in here a little bit better. The chestnut note in here doesn't seem as rich, but you can pick it out, and it seems to really play into the fruit. Not really blended as well, but it's almost like you can pick out what the fragrance is doing. This feels like it's a more vibrant fragrance. It feels like it moves better than what the Scandal Absolute does. And while Scandal Absolute is, in my opinion, the more rich and more deep fragrance, it gets really smooth and buttery, and I mean, it's great. It is a great fragrance. Here, while you don't get the smoothness, or it's not quite as smooth, because it is smooth, while it doesn't come across as smooth, and you do get a nice bit of the butteriness and the sweetness. This one feels sweeter. It presents sweeter into the dry down. And again, you get a little bit more of this spiced type of fruit accord. And to me, it just plays so much better and so much more vibrantly in the air than it does in Scandal Absolute. Now, the sandalwood in here. Now, you know, sandalwood's one of my favorite notes in perfumery, and both of them do the sandalwood well. I think that you start getting a little bit more of that sandalwood later in the dry down here in the King than you do in the OG fragrance here in the Scandal Absolute. Now, what does that mean for the fragrance? What that means is that you're going to have more of a linear transition with the OG fragrance than you do with the Inspired By. And that's kind of strange, because you don't usually see that. But with the Inspired By, I'm getting a lot more transition as it goes further into the dry down. You start getting your individual notes that start to kind of play themselves in as that dry down is occurring, man. And like I said, what it does is it makes this fragrance a little bit more vivid and a little bit more vibrant. And I keep saying that word vibrant, but it's because if there was a word that could like really sum up the distinction between these two fragrances, between Scandal Absolute and between Armaf King, that word would be vibrant. This one is a little bit more vibrant. And you know what it's like? It's like, you know, having twins, right? You have these two twins, and one of them has like a bigger, bolder personality. They look just alike, they talk just alike, but one twin's got a little bit more of a outgoing personality. They're loud, they're one that gets noticed more. This one, the Armaf King, I feel has a lot more of a compliment factor because of the way that it presents itself. I think people are going to notice it a lot more, and I think it's going to show up as a more pleasing wear than Scandal Absolute. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not poo-pooing Scandal Absolute at all. It's one of it's one of my favorite from that Jean Paul Gaultier line. Scandal Absolute is fire, man. But when it comes to how the fragrance presents, I think I'd much rather the Inspired By in this situation. This is a true Inspired By. They took the DNA and they made a few subtle changes to make it, in my opinion, a little bit better wear than what the original is. As far as performance goes, hey guys, these are about what I feel like the Absolute, the Scandal Absolute does kind of last on skin a little bit longer, but when I've put both of them on clothes, they last until, you know, on clothes until you wash. Okay. This one, the Armaf King, will last on skin about 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours. It actually gives about an arm's length projection from the get-go. It's not super loud. Like I said, it's vibrant, but it's not super loud. So it's going to give you about an arm's length projection for that first maybe 2 hours here. Kind of shrinks in slowly into being more of a skin scent, gradually going up into that 6 to 7 hour, just a little bit more condensed every hour that you wear it. That being said, if you got it on clothes, people are going to smell it. The sillage is non-stop on this. Sillage is compliment worthy, and a lot of people will compliment it. The first time that I wore this, 3 people, you know, asked me about it. One at work, one when I went into the grocery store, and then another one when I stopped by the gas station. She just got caught in the sillage and was like, you know, following me out. I'm like, man, I love a man when he smell good. Jesus. That was her words, not mine. But, you know, that's, you know, the type of fragrance this is. You know, Scandal Absolute is a compliment getter too, but I feel like this one, the way that it plays in the air, it gives something that's just a tad bit different than Absolute. On a scale of 1 to 10, guys, this is, you know, at least a good 9 for me. You know, as far as like fragrances that I've picked up this year, it is definitely one of my favorite. This is a fall and winter fragrance. I'm not sure about how it's going to fit into the summer, but I think you could get away with it for spring. So if you purchase this now, I think you'll be able to kind of get away with it in the spring months. Man, I think this is a great pickup. If you could find it right now, get it, because you could already see where the price is starting to kind of go up on discounters, man. So just be aware that this one's great. This one's great. I like this one better than his Confessions release that Lattafa dropped. You know, because I've seen them get compared a lot for some reason. I don't know why, but I like this one a lot, man. And I recommend that you put your nose on it, because if you pick it up, I guarantee you won't be disappointed. That's all I got for this one right now. What did you think of this fragrance if you've gotten your nose on it, man? If you have, make sure, or even if you haven't, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, make sure you share this video with someone you know that loves fragrances, guys. Until next time, peace out.